Joshua Zirkzee, terms agreed. McTominay bidding war, and will Manchester United attempt to sign Federico Chiesa? These are some of the stories we will be discussing on this afternoon's show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 500 likes on this afternoon's show. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel. I'm live every single day at 8:30 a.m, 1:30 p.m, and also 6 UK time. So make sure you get involved for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Right, let's start the show off by talking about some outgoings then, because we have got an update for you on Donny Van De Beek. This is coming out from a couple of different people this afternoon saying that Donny Van De Beek will leave Manchester United this summer, and Manchester United are actively trying to find a solution for Donny's future. Donny's got 1 year left of his contract. He's on £120,000 per week. At the moment, Man United are struggling to get any money for him whatsoever. He went to Frankfurt. He didn't do very well, unfortunately. There was an option to buy him for Frankfurt for £9 million. They said no. So it's a real difficult situation for Donny Van De Beek. Apparently, Manchester United are willing to accept as little as £2 million for Donny now. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. He was regarded as one of the best central midfielders in his age, 4 years ago when we signed him. He's come to Manchester United and we've absolutely ruined him. But he has been injured quite a lot. And I think, you know, everyone gave him a chance. The fans gave him a real chance. It just hasn't worked. So, yeah, I think for Donny, he needs to move on. And at this point, if we can get him off the wage bill, that's probably the best option for us, really, because the alternative is we loan him out. We probably pay half of his wages and then he leaves for free next summer anyway. So, yeah, I think Donny, I know it's absolutely devastating to see a player we paid nearly £40 million for go for nothing, but that's the situation we find ourselves in. But keeping on the topics of midfielders, I wanted to talk a little bit about Scott McTominay. Obviously, we spoke yesterday about the fact that Fulham have apparently approached Manchester United to sign Scott McTominay. For anybody who's unaware, Fulham have agreed a deal with Bayern Munich to sell Paulinho, so they are now looking for a central midfielder. Obviously, if you rewind back to transfer deadline day last summer, Fulham approached Manchester United on transfer deadline day trying to sign Scott McTominay. They apparently submitted a bid of around 40 million on deadline day last summer, but Manchester United rejected it because they said they didn't have enough time to find a replacement. But Fulham have come back knocking again yesterday. They want to sign Scott McTominay. They see him as a replacement for Paulinho. But this morning, apparently Galatasaray have also entered the race to sign Scott McTominay. There's a bit of a bidding war going on here. Now, I know McTominay, everyone has an opinion on McTominay. Some people think he's terrible. Some people think he's all right. I want you to let me know. Should Manchester United sell Scott McTominay? Let me know in the comment section below. My preference with McTominay is this. I think going forward, I think he's quite good. In an attacking position, he gets goals. He can be quite a bit of a danger man, can't he, when he's in the opponent's box. But in a midfield position, I just don't think he's very good, to be honest. I think he's very, very average. I think Amrabat's better than him. I think Rabiot's better than him. I think Ugarte's better than him. And all of those players would cost the same or less than what we could get for Scott McTominay. The other thing as well with McTominay is because he's come through the youth academy, he would be classed as 100% profit on our books. So £40 million would go a long way if we were to get that for him. I think one of the big appeals to McTominay to clubs like Fulham and Galatasaray is his wages. He's only on about 60k a week at Manchester United, which, you know, he could easily go to Fulham and earn 80, 90k a week, and that wouldn't break his wage budget, their wage bracket. But when you look at players like Donny, to give a comparison, Donny's on about 120k a week, and I think Fulham's highest earning player is the goalkeeper Leno, and he's on about 130. So say Donny Van De Beek, as an example, went to Fulham, he would be their second highest earning player for somebody who effectively they don't want. Whereas McTominay, he's obviously done well for Scotland over the years. He's done well for Manchester United at points. He would probably go to Fulham and play every single game and would probably be quite a good player for them. So my preference with McTominay would be to sell. I think, as I said, he's good going forward, but not very good defensively and not very good kind of as a midfield player, which is effectively what he's being paid to do. So, yeah, I would sell McTominay, but let me know in the comment section, what would you do with Scott McTominay? Would you keep him? Would you sell him? Let me know your thoughts below. Everyone who's just joined the video, if you could do me a small favour and smash a like, that'd be really, really appreciated. I've set a likes target of 500 for today's show. And we are also only now one subscriber away from 25,900. So if this is your first time watching today, please make sure you subscribe. It's completely free content. Make sure you get involved. Okay, so moving on from McTominay, let's talk a little bit about Federico Chiesa. And I want to open this part of the show up to you, the viewer. I want your opinions. Fabrizio Romano has come out this morning saying that apparently Juventus will consider offers of around 25 million euros for Federico Chiesa, whose deal expires in June 2025 and has refused to sign a new contract. He says that Juventus are prepared to sell Chiesa, who's currently not part of the new manager Thiago Motta's plans, as confirmed yesterday. Now, the question I've got for you is this. Should Manchester United try and sign Chiesa? 25 million euros is about 25 million pounds, right? Jadon Sancho is wanted by Juventus. Mason Greenwood is wanted by Juventus. Is there a world where maybe we swap Mason Greenwood for Chiesa? Is there a world where maybe we swap Jadon Sancho for Chiesa and maybe they give us a little bit of money? I think Chiesa is a decent player. I like him. Some people seem to think he's not very good anymore, but I think he's a good player. I think he's worth more than 25 million euros for sure. And I think if he came to Manchester United, I think that would be a bargain. It's about 20 million pounds. He can play as a left winger, a right winger, and as a second striker. He gives us lots of options across that front three. He's obviously, won quite a lot of trophies in his time. Obviously, he won the Euros with Italy. He's won the Italian Cup a couple of times with Juventus. I think he's a decent player. I would like to see him at Manchester United. I know some people say, he's not the same player he used to be, but I think he's worth a try, at least. I think it would be better than Jadon Sancho, who's clearly not wanted at the club. The other thing as well, which makes the deal a little bit more plausible, is his wages. He's on about 150k a week, which is not bad at all. When you think, Jadon Sancho's on about 250, we could definitely bring Chiesa in and it wouldn't break the wage budget. So yeah, for me personally, if there's a way Manchester United could sign Chiesa and let maybe Sancho go the other way, I think it's a good bit of business. It solves our problems. Ten Hag doesn't want Sancho. Sancho doesn't want United, and Ineos don't want Sancho either. So either we have a player who's unhappy, who nobody wants that. Nobody wants an unhappy player at the club, do they? And the other main detail about Jadon Sancho, which I think we sometimes forget about, is nobody seems to want to pay his transfer fee at the moment. All of the clubs want to do a loan. Dortmund want to loan him. Apparently Juventus are interested in loaning him. Like, the list goes on and on and on. So I think this could actually be a real solution to our problems here. If we did send Sancho to Juventus and took Federico Chiesa in return, I think it's a no-brainer. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section. I just to say as well, I think Jadon Sancho in his prime is a better player than Chiesa, but we don't have Jadon Sancho in his prime at the moment. We have an unhappy Jadon Sancho who's fallen out with the manager and called him out on social media. That's the situation we're in. So yeah, I would personally do this swap deal if it's an option. The next story I've got for you, which is a positive one, and this is coming out from multiple different outlets this afternoon, saying that apparently Manchester United have just reached an agreement on personal terms with Joshua Zirkzee. So we should get the here we go from Fabrizio, I reckon, in the next couple of days. Obviously, Manchester United have already told Bologna that they'll trigger the release clause. Personal terms are now agreed. Erik ten Hag has apparently been keeping in regular contact with Joshua Zirkzee over the last week or so. Apparently, he's been calling him daily. That's what I read earlier, which is crazy. Every single day, Erik ten Hag is calling Zirkzee, reassuring him, telling him that the deal is going to go ahead. And that's Erik ten Hag really showing that he wants the player, really showing that he wants to be part of Manchester United, which I think is really important, because it is important to make players feel wanted and special. They are human after all. I know people will say that sounds soft. They earn loads of money, but players are humans. They want to know that they're valued and that they're wanted. And I think Erik ten Hag is doing all he can to make sure that Joshua Zirkzee's head is not turned by other clubs who are circling for him, like AC Milan. And then the final story I've got for you today is about Dan Ashworth. So obviously we know that Manchester United had to pay a compensation package to Newcastle to bring Dan Ashworth to Manchester United. And originally Newcastle were asking for £20 million. The figure has now been confirmed. Apparently it was £2.7 million. I mean, that's an absolute bargain, isn't it? I know Newcastle fans will say, oh, well, we've got Paul Mitchell now. We got 2.7 million and we've got Paul Mitchell. That's fine. You're welcome to him. Manchester United and Ineos wanted Dan Ashworth. Newcastle said 20 million. We made them wait for 3-4 months, and then we managed to get him for 2.7 million. So that's good business by Ineos. And I'm really happy that Dan Ashworth is through the door ahead of this transfer window, and him and the rest of the team can now get to work. That's everything for this lunchtime update. I will be back at 4:30 p.m. today for a live show. Please make sure you smash a like on the way out. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all a bit later.